Ever thought about living on an island? Today we're going to talk about the pros and cons of living on Whidbey. Hey everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel, Live and Invest in the Pacific Northwest. And I'm Katie Grindon with KG Realty, and today we're going to be talking about the pros and cons of living on Whidbey Island. Before we begin, I want to tell you just a little bit about Whidbey Island. It's located in the Pacific Northwest in Washington State in beautiful Puget Sound. We are about 30 miles north of Seattle. Whidbey Island is the largest island in Washington State. It's about 50 miles long and it runs north to south. There's 3 different ways you can get here. You can take 2 different ferries. You can take the Clinton-Mukilteo ferry or the Port Townsend Keystone ferry. And then there's also a bridge at the far north end of the island. It's called Deception Pass Bridge. And you can come through Anacortes and go over the Deception Pass Bridge and end up in Oak Harbor. I'm going to start with the pros. The first pro I want to talk about is that Whidbey Island has a lower cost of living compared to the Seattle market. Don't get me wrong, we still live in a very expensive place compared to the national average, about $410,000. The Seattle average home price, if you want to buy a home in Seattle, is going to cost you about $880,000 on average. If you want to buy a home on Whidbey Island, the average price point is about $630,000. The other thing I want to point out about that is you get a lot more for your money here. So that $880,000 in Seattle is probably an older home, rambler, smaller. Here you're going to get a bigger house, more property, more square footage, and it's probably newer and nicer too. Another pro that I wanted to point out is that Whidbey Island is an outdoor lover's paradise with beautiful scenery everywhere you go. So there is tons of stuff to do on Whidbey Island when you're here. We are an island, we're surrounded by beaches and water. So there's a lot of beach access and you can go walk on the beaches. I love Double Bluff. It's an off-leash dog park. A lot of people will come over here just to go to that beach. It's really lovely. If you enjoy water activities, you can do things like paddleboard, kayak, you can go kite surfing even. It's just really fun. You can go clamming and just hang out on the beach and spend the day on the sand if you like to do that. If you have a boat, we have a lot of public boat launches, so people will put their boats in and they can spend the day on the water crabbing and fishing and shrimping, or you can go whale watching. That's a big fun thing that people like to do here. Or you can travel up to the San Juans and explore the Puget Sound, and people do that a lot in boats also. As far as exercisers go, we have a lot of people that ride their bikes here. It's rural, the roads are pretty safe. Exercising on the roads, going running. There's just like no stoplights, so you're not gonna get stuck anywhere. And we have a lot of people that enjoy the outdoor lifestyle. One other thing I want to say about our beautiful scenery is that we are in the Puget Sound, so we're smack dab in between the Cascade Mountains on the mainland on the east side, so you get to see those beautiful, beautiful sunrises coming up. And then on the west side, we see the Olympics out on the peninsula. So it's kind of cool that you can see these beautiful sunrises and sunsets over gorgeous water in beautiful, lovely green scenery. Whidbey Island is a small town, rural sort of place. So you're going to get that close-knit community. People are going to care about you. Your neighbors are going to care about you. It's really nice. I like it a lot. When you go to the grocery store, you're going to run into people that you know or that your kids go to school with. We have farmers markets. We have places you can go out and interact with people. We have a lot of generational living here. And by that, I mean there's families that have come here and stayed here and raised their kids here, and then the kids stay. So there's just a lot of history and close-knit community that you're going to get to partake in. And I also think it's very welcoming to new people that want to come in. The fourth pro I like to talk about is that we have easy access to the mainland. And this is also going to be a con, but we'll start with the pro part of it. So we have 3 different ways you can get on and off Whidbey Island. On the south end, you can get off the island using the Mukilteo Clinton ferry. Clinton is the Whidbey Island side and Mukilteo is the mainland side. From there, if there's no traffic, you can get to downtown Seattle in about 35 minutes. We also have a lot of transportation from those areas, so it's easy to get on and off the island if you need to go somewhere. On the north end, we have Deception Pass, so you're not going to always be stuck on an island. There is an actual way to drive off of the island if you need to, and from there, you go through Anacortes and you would get onto I-5 and you're on your way to Bellingham and Canada. So there's 2 ways you can get on off the island that way. And if you want to head over to the peninsula side, then you would take the Keystone Port Townsend ferry and you can go over there and spend the day and explore. I would say more tourists are probably taking that ferry, but it's a great loop that you can do to explore just our beautiful Pacific Northwest. A fifth pro that I like to talk about is that we have a thriving creative and artisanal scene here on the island. We do get a lot of tourism here, and people like to come and see all of the wonderful things that our artists are doing on the island. In particular, you can go to Langley and go to WICA, which is the Whidbey Island Center for the Arts, and they have a lot of live theater and music and performances that are happening there. And then you can visit the wonderful town of Langley, which is really has a lot of great shops that you can see and buy stuff in. We have Green Bank, which is a big artist community there. And then Coopville has a lot of textiles and shops and different things that you can go and see there also. In particular, I just want to point out and shout out to my favorite store, which is Madrona Supply Company. It's here in Clinton. It's across from my building. They design unique handmade Pacific Northwest items that capture the essence of Whidbey Island. It's really cool. So you can buy t-shirts and sweatshirts and hats. They have a very awesome candy counter that's super old-fashioned, and I love that. It's fun. I buy all my clients their gifts there when they're buying properties on Whidbey Island. So it's just a great shop, and I have a lot of stuff that I wear from there also. And then they do live edge wood products, so you can custom order and design live edge furniture or mantles or things like that. So it's a really cool shop, and I highly recommend you visit it. And the final pro that I wanted to point out is that we have the Naval Air Station here up in Oak Harbor. They are a major employer in our economy. They bring a ton of business and wonderful families into our community. A lot of our Navy families, when they retire, they want to come back here and retire and live on Whidbey Island because it's such a wonderful place to live. So we love having them here and being a part of Whidbey Island. Okay, we talked about the pros of coming to Whidbey Island. Now let's talk about a few cons. And I think it's important to talk about the cons because when you're checking Whidbey Island out, these are things that I talk to my clients about, and I want to make sure they understand what it's like to live here. So let's start with number one. Number one, Whidbey Island can be difficult to get to sometimes. And I know I said it's a pro and that it's easy access on and off the island, but the reason it can be a con is because in the summers in particular, it can back up. People want to get here, they want to come and vacation here, and there are a lot of people that have vacation homes here. So the ferry can back up starting on a Thursday evening, and then like midday Friday, there will be lines. It will just take longer to get to the island. You're going to be probably waiting in a ferry line. The workaround on that is you can park your car and you can walk across. There's parking rights, there's public transportation. So just think about that, having someone pick you up on the boat if you don't want to wait in a line. The other thing you want to be aware of if you live here and you're commuting Mondays through Fridays, getting off the island in the morning to get to your job and coming home from your job in the evenings, there is going to be a little bit of a line coming and going to the island. A lot of the locals will use the park and ride, or they'll park the car on the other side. They can rent a space, and so they'll walk across in order to not have to wait in a line. That's something to be aware of. It's a trade-off that you're going to have to do to get to and from Whidbey Island in order to experience this beautiful place. And then the final place where it can be a little difficult to get on and off the island is Deception Pass. That is a park, and a lot of tourists like to visit it. It's gorgeous, but it can back up. It's just going to take you a little bit longer to wind through and get off the island if you want to go that way. The second con I like to tell people about is, or I don't really like to tell you about it, but I want you to be aware of it, is that we have limited shopping and dining on the island. I'm not saying we don't have good dining spots. I want you to go to the local eateries, but we just don't have big name brand places on especially the south and central sections of the island. Once you get to Oak Harbor, we do have names you would know like Home Depot, and we do have fast food places. But central down, you're only going to have one fast food place. It's called Dairy Queen. It's down here in Clinton. Other than that, it's just local eateries that you can visit. If you want to go do major shopping, like do a Costco run or go to Target or go to Nordstrom's and get some clothes, you are going to be catching a ferry to get off the island. And we say we're going over town to go shopping, and grew up doing that my whole life. It's fun. You get to go spend a day off island and go and buy the things that you need. Another con that can come up for you is we have somewhat of a limited job opportunity, economic growth options available to you. And by that, I mean all of our major industries are pretty much off island unless you're going to work remotely. So we have like Boeing and Amazon and Starbucks and Home Depot and Costco. We have a lot of places that you can work, but you're going to be having to travel off island to get there. We do have some major employers that I already have mentioned. We have the Naval Air Station as well as Nichols Brothers. They are a boat building company. But other than that, you're pretty much going to have to commute unless you can work remotely. A fourth con that comes up for me, I get this question a lot from my clients, especially the clients that are retiring here to Whidbey Island, is what's the medical care like here on the island? We do have medical care, we do have doctors and clinics and dentists, and you can go see an eye doctor, and we do have a couple hospitals. But if you need specialized healthcare, like maybe cancer treatment, heaven forbid, or heart surgery, you are going to be traveling off island for that sort of healthcare. We have major hospitals in Everett as well as Seattle. And the other thing I like to point out is if you do need to travel off island for healthcare, you can get a medical pass so that you can go to the front of the line in the ferries and you don't have to wait very long. But you can get straight on the ferries to get to your appointments, and that's a really nice thing to be aware of. And the final con that I want to talk about is the Naval Air Station up in Oak Harbor. And I know I said it's a pro, and it really is a pro, but there is one small thing that comes with the Navy, and that is the jet noise. 2 runways on the island where they are practicing touch and goes, and it can be very, very loud. And so people that have noise sensitivity, they just need to be aware of it and decide if they want to live in that area. Trust me, there's plenty of other places to live on the island, so don't let that deter you if it's something you don't like. Small thing with the Navy, we still love them. Go Navy. Well, that's it. Hopefully I've given you some good pros and cons to consider if you're thinking about coming to Whidbey Island. If you do want to come here, if you have more questions, my team and I would love to serve you. I'm Katie Grindon. I'm the owner of KG Realty, and all of my details are down below. And I just wanted to conclude by saying welcome to Whidbey.